The movie begins with Lord Richard Croft telling about the legend of Himiko, the first queen of Japan, a powerful sorceress who ruled her empire with dark magic and could destroy anything with a mere touch of her hand. She was unstoppable until an army of her own generals bound and dragged her to an uninhabitable island in the middle of the dangerous Devil's Sea. Her tomb still remains beneath that mountains. Richard finds a clue about the location of her tomb and wants to get there before anyone can, and he even leaves his daughter Lara behind to carry out that mission. At present, Lara is at a boxing gym, having an intense fight with her opponent, and her friend Sophie cheers for her. Lara fights her all against her opponent but is eventually forced to tap out. Sophie tells Lara she got whooped. The other girl walks in and asks Lara if they are good, to which Lara says they are good and thinks she will get her next time. The gym's owner soon informs Lara that she is due on her payments and can't continue to allow her to attend without paying. Lara promises to pay and says she needs some time. Lara delivers food on her bike and stops by a restaurant, where a guy seems to like her but couldn't dare to ask her out. Lara arrives at a location to deliver food, and she hears two guys talking about a fox hunt, and they can't find a fox. When Lara asks about it, they tell her that the person has to carry fox's tail and leave a paint trail behind. If they can't catch the fox before the paint runs out, the fox wins all the money, and Lara agrees to be the fox as she thought it's an easy 600 pounds. Lara gets a head start before the team of bikers chases after her. She rides through the streets and jumps onto a truck, leaving the group clueless with no trail, causing them to split up. She jumps back on and heads in a different direction but runs into one of the bikers, from whom she narrowly escapes. Later Lara notices a man whom she believes to be Richard, but he isn't, and this causes her to take her eyes off the road and run into a police car, leading to her arrest. Her father's business partner and former guardian Anna Miller shows up. She tells Lara that she doesn't need to do such things for money as there is an inheritance waiting for her. Lara refuses as she is still waiting for her father, who has been missing for 7 years. Anna informs that police have stopped searching for him, and even the private detectives are unwilling to take the job. She thinks Lara should accept that her father is gone, and she needs to claim her inheritance because everything her father owned is about to be sold off, including their manor. She reminds Lara what her father would feel if she lost that house, and says she can do so much good to the world with that wealth. The following morning, Lara arrives at her father's company to claim her inheritance, but before she signs the papers, she is given a wooden puzzle box, which she used to play with in her childhood. She quickly solves it and finds a key and a note, leaving her a cryptic message. Lara immediately leaves and arrives at her family's manor. She goes to her family's tomb and finds the hidden keyhole, and uses the key she got from the puzzle box, and discovers a secret room in which she finds all of her father's research. She notices a video camera in which she finds a message from Richard explaining his hunt for Himiko's grave and her history. He requests that Lara burn all of his research on the Himiko project because it would be catastrophic if it fell into the wrong hands. But Lara doesn't destroy them and instead goes through all the research, and learns Himiko was buried on the lost island of Yamatai. Lara realizes it is the place where her father went, and she also finds the details of the captain named Lu Ren, who took him to that island. Since Lara had not signed the papers, she had to visit a pawn shop to get some money by selling an amulet that belonged to her father. Sadly, she only receives 10,000 pounds initially, and when she attempts to get more, the arrogant shop owner cuts it to 8,000 pounds. Lara travels to Hong Kong to find Lu Ren. She arrives at the docks looking for him and asking people around. 3 boys reach her pretending to help, and tell her his boat's name before stealing her bag. Lara chases them and eventually grabs one of them and retrieves her bag. But when they take out their knife, Lara runs away from them, and luckily she finds Lu Ren's boat. She runs to the boat, but the boys corner her before Lu Ren shows up with a rifle and scares them off. He even points his rifle at Lara and tells her to leave, but he is drunk and passed out. Lara wakes him up asking about her father and learns that he left with Lu Ren's father, and they both disappeared. Lara tries to understand the coordinates to the exact island they went to, and Lu tells her they are clock hands, which helps Lara to figure out the island. But Lu mentions that it is right in the middle of the Devil's Sea. She demands that they sail to Yamatai to investigate what happened to their fathers, and she pays him with all the money she got. So they begin sailing to the island, and Lara goes more into the research and learns about the location of Himiko's tomb and an elaborate door to keep her contained, and learns her father figured out how to decipher the codes of that door. Richard then reveals his research is being monitored by an ancient militant organization named Trinity, which seeks control over the supernatural to rule over the fate of humanity. As they get close to the island, they come upon a fierce storm. Lu tells her they should get off the boat. She quickly heads to get her stuff as Lu tries to get on the lifeboat. As she tries to get to Lou, a huge rock strikes the ship, and Lara falls into the sea. She couldn't find Lou, and was eventually washed away to the island. She notices a few men approaching her before being knocked out by a mercenary. Lara wakes to find herself with a man named Matthias Vogel. He tells her that he has been on the island for a very long time, and the only person he gets to talk to is on the other end of his phone, and they say he can't go home to his family until is done on the island. Lara hears some explosion outside and gets suspicious of Vogel. She searched her bag but couldn't find her father's research, and it turned out that Vogel had taken it. He has been heading a Trinity expedition to discover Himiko's grave, and thanks her for bringing him the research, as he has been searching for the tomb for years since Richard didn't cooperate with them. When Lara asks him about her father, Vogel says he killed him. Lara and Lou are forced to work for Vogel, as he uses Richard's research to find the tomb, and they are heading to locate it. Lou reveals that his father was killed too. They are climbing the mountain with a large group of laborers and are subjected to extreme labor. When one man falls back due to exhaustion, Vogel kills him. Lou then takes on one of the mercenaries to give Lara a chance to run. They chase and shoot after Lara, who manages to escape from them, but she falls into the river and is almost washed away until she grabs onto the wing of crashed airplane hanging over the falls. But it soon starts to break, and Lara jumps into the plane and quickly unbinds herself. When the plane is crashing, she discovers a parachute and pulls it as she falls. She falls into the bushes and is gravely injured when something gets stuck in her abdomen. Vogel's man finds Lara, but she gives him a tough fight and manages to kill him. She then spots a mysterious person in the bushes and follows him as he climbs to his hideout. She follows him there and is surprised to learn it's her father, who is very much alive. He initially assumes Lara to be a hallucination, but Lara reminds him of their usual gestures, and they tearfully reunite. Richard then treats her wounds. Meanwhile, Vogel locates Himiko's tomb, and he calls his boss for transport. Richard admits that leaving Lara has been the most difficult thing he's ever done, but Himiko won't let him leave the place. He reveals that Vogel works for the Trinity, and that Richard must prevent him from reaching Himiko. He believes Lara destroyed his research, but he is furious that Lara did not destroy his research as he instructed. Now Trinity is very close to Himiko as Vogel got his hands on Richard's findings. Lara believes it is not important. Richard is adamant that when the tomb is opened, Himiko's curse will be unleashed on the world. Lara plans to leave the island with Richard using Vogel's satellite phone. Richard refuses to fight back, but Lara is unwilling to give up and takes a bow and arrows to return to the camp. She slips into Vogel's tent but quickly hides as he arrives. He cannot find the code to unlock the door and gets an alert on the phone that his transport is on its way. Lara leaves the tent and draws Lou's attention. Lara kills the guard who is guarding the workers and orders them to arm themselves as she gets the phone and flees the island. Lara notices Vogel leave the tent and asks Lou to take the others along while she goes to the tent. Lara gets Vogel's satellite phone, and when she is about to leave, she finds Richard walking toward the tomb. But Vogel corners Richard and demands that he open the tomb so he can return to his family, but Richard argues that if they opened it, he wouldn't have a family. So he orders his guard to kill Richard, but Lara kills him before he can shoot. She points her arrow at Vogel, but he's got Richard at his gunpoint. When Richard instructs Lara to kill Vogel, she is unable to do so due to her fear for Richard's life, and decides to solve the puzzle to open the door. As she arranges the sequence of the wheels, the door collapses. Vogel leads everyone down, and when Lara lands on a trigger, spears emerge from the ground, killing one of the guards. As they proceed, they come upon several skeletons. They use a ladder to reach the other side, where they discover carvings of Himiko's faces. A guard walks on another trigger, forcing circular doors to close around them and confine them within. The floor abruptly starts to collapse. Lara finds a guard looking through a door on the opposite side. She deduces that the hole he's peering through is a keyhole, so they try using the prayer wheels off the wall as keys. Lara recalls the riddle at the entry and deduces that the yellow and blue prayer wheels must be combined to form a green wheel, the color of life. Finally the door is opened, and now they find the tombs of Himiko handmaidens who sacrificed themselves to serve her afterlife. They eventually discover Himiko's tomb, and Vogel orders his men to open it, revealing her body, which decays rapidly. Lara realizes Himiko wasn't exploiting her abilities for evil, but she had deliberately decided to be buried to prevent the disease inside her from spreading. The men ignore her and try to remove her body, but one of them gets infected and quickly decomposes, even shooting several others in a frenzy until Vogel puts him out of his suffering. Vogel removes Himiko's finger and puts it in a bag so he may hand it to his employer. While Vogel and his last guard are distracted, Lara and Richard attack them. When Lara flees, the guard pursues her. Vogel offers Richard the opportunity to return home, but he won't let him carry the virus off the island. Vogel soon runs out of bullets, but the infected guard rises and attacks Richard. And Vogel departs while Richard is distracted. Richard uses his hand to stop the attacker and then shoots him, but he has been touched. Meanwhile, Lara comes upon a trigger and walks on it. It sends many spiked logs toward her and the guard, eventually killing the guard. She returns to Richard to find he is infected. He plans to blow up the tomb to stop the disease from spreading. He says his final goodbye to Lara before she departs to stop Vogel. Lara finds Vogel before he could cross the bridge. They had an intense fight, but Vogel overpowers and about to kill her just as Richard blows up the explosive and begins to destroy the tomb. Lara snatches Vogel's finger bag out his pocket and shoves it into his throat. Lara kicks him down as the virus spreads throughout his body. She jumps over to the other side and makes her way to the end of the tomb before becoming stuck beneath the rubble. Fortunately, Lu Ren is nearby and helps her out. They then see a Trinity helicopter land and force the guys to fly them and the others home. Lara claims her fortune after her return to London. She looks through all the companies owned by her father, and finds Trinity's parent firm, Patna, as Lara found its presence everywhere on the island. She learns Anna is the head of that firm and has been working directly with Vogel the entire time. Lara chooses to carry on her father's job and bring the evil men down. The post-credit scene shows Lara returning to the pawn shop where she sold Amulet, and purchased 2 guns. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.